Welcome to Subscription Prescription, the podcast where you get the information you need to scale your subscription program.
One of the hardest things to manage in subscriptions is consumption. Basically, how much somebody orders and how much they use of your product. If you're selling coffee, supplements, something that people take at different cadences, it can be really, really hard. And this is one of the number one contributors to churn because people either end up with too much product or not enough product. And when they don't have enough, they go and find it on Amazon or at a local store. I'd like to introduce you to a new solution in the subscription game that is fixing all of that called Bottomless. Bottomless is a software and scale that people use at home to be able to manage how much they're using of something. Bottomless scale will sit on your counter. You can put the coffee bag on it, and that scale will track how much is left in the bag and trigger a reorder when things are getting low. The system is fully automated, and the best part is that you can run it in tandem with your subscription app or use it all alone as its own subscription experience. If you have a problem with consumers not knowing how much to use, having too much product, or having to reorder too many times, I highly suggest you look at Bottomless and find out more about how they're transforming the subscription experience.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Subscription Prescription, the podcast where we do everything we can to help you figure out e-commerce subscriptions. I'm really excited to be joined today by Jordan West. He's a brand owner, agency runner, and a general all-around e-commerce great guy. So, Jordan, thank you for coming on the show today.
Oh, Matt, it's too nice. It's too nice. You know what? I actually forgot to ask, we've met multiple times, like in real life and talked all over. I call you Matt. Is that okay? Is that an okay thing to say? Or
it's one of those weird things where people ask, do you prefer Matt or Matthew? And I was like, I actually don't. Depending on how I met you or where I met you, I have weird nicknames with other people, like Matty. I have a whole cohort of people that call me Matty. But Matt works just fine. Just fine.
I've got a few people, like the very occasional person. My grandpa used to call me Jordy, and I loved it. And then I've got a couple people in my life. I think it's like 2 or 3 that call me Jordy, and I'm just so like, oh, thank you. It's nice to have a nickname, or like a nice name like that, rather than just plain old Jordan. So,
well, the funny thing is, I mean, this is a total tangent, but my best friend called me Matty for a long time, but then more and more people started calling me Matty. Friends, and he actually didn't like it and stopped calling me Matty because it didn't feel special anymore. It's just a silly name thing. So, Jordan, okay. We're talking e-commerce naming conventions. No, I'm just kidding. Jordan, I would love to start with just spending a little bit of time introducing yourself to the audience. I mean, I know that you're the founder of Keep Nature Wild, and you regularly buy brands, roll brands into some of the different ones you're running, as well as your work on Upgrowth Commerce. So if you don't mind just telling us a little bit more about what you're into, that would be great.
So actually, I did not found Keep Nature Wild. K&W was a brand that we acquired 3 years ago now. Awesome brand. Absolutely love it. Really great community. The big thing there and what drew me to that brand was the amazing community that Cam and Sean, the previous owners, had built. It was just absolutely phenomenal. They pick up a pound of trash for every item that we sell, but it's not like we do it through Plastic Bank or anything like that. We actually go out and do the work. So we have an army of almost 6,000 people that go and pick up trash on trails. And that's really the cool part about this brand. We do all of this kind of impact work, and we just happen to sell things that people love as well. So, so we've got that brand. I'll just talk to a couple of brands right now. The other sort of main focus, my wife runs, and that's Little and Lively. That's actually comprised of, there's actually 4 different brands that are all a part of that, but Little and Lively is the biggest one. It's a baby and kids clothing company, and have a lot of fun there. And then my main focus these days is actually at our agency at Upgrowth Commerce. I have found that agency work and life is really like the confluence of my skill set, and where I actually think that I personally can make the biggest impact on partners, on clients, on all of these different things that are out there, specifically in the podcast and SaaS world and all of these different things. That's really where I like to have my focus. At the end of the day, I'm really a B2B guy. I love the business to business because it's incredible. One of the things I truly, truly believe in is first of all, the 7 habits. And part of the 7 habits of highly effective people is, habit 6 is synergize. It's funny because it's like, you don't actually practice that. It's like the confluence of all of the other habits that create synergy. And so I feel like I can see that. I can see these ways that different people can work together, and that we can create an ocean that rises itself, right? And so that's what I'm really obsessed with. And that's why, because people are like, why do you do the agency thing? Like, aren't you like a brand guy? And I'm like, I'm a really horrible operator, a horrific operator. I'm a really good networker and ideas person and visionary CEO. That's all I do. So
I love that. And maybe that's why you and I get along so well, because I feel like that's one of my strengths, is being able to see multiple pieces, see where people could fit in, what people could use.
Totally.
What could be helpful. It's really, really fun. And one of the reasons why I invited you on the podcast today is because you talk a lot about the work you do at Upgrowth, but specifically related to like content creation, right? So for anyone listening, and maybe I should go back and put this as a teaser at the beginning of the episode, is like, we're going to be talking a lot about content as well as testing some different offers. There's going to be a lot of meat here for anyone who's trying to figure out how to grow and scale their brand in this episode. So I'd love to hear from you a little bit of your content philosophy when you're advising brands, something that you're offering through Upgrowth, obviously, but some of that work you do, because content can mean a lot of things, right? It's video, it can be stills, GIFs, stuff that you're using in ads, on the product pages, all kinds of things.
Yeah, so let's actually walk through the process here that we use, and hopefully you guys can actually just steal this process, because I think it's a really, really beautiful process. So what I love doing is I love taking different frameworks. I'm a huge framework guy. One of my best friends the other day is like, I'm so annoyed with all the frameworks you bring up. Why do you do that? And I'm like, because where else would I hang things? Right? I must have frameworks to be able to walk through. Otherwise, I couldn't do what I do at the volume that I do it at. And I don't know if you guys can tell how fast I talk. You're not listening at 1.5. I just love doing things. And I love, as soon as I have an idea, yesterday morning, I had this idea. And I was like, you know what? I need to create a partner network. And so within half an hour, I made a LinkedIn post. I now have, I think it's now up to 50 applicants to join my partner network. And I already have people joining the network and have it all going. And I'm like, this is what I love to do. I hate getting out of a meeting being like, okay, so we'll meet about this again next week. No, we're either going to do it or we're not going to do it. So, so anyway, as you hear me kind of talk through some of these ideas, that's kind of where some of this motivation for me is coming from. So, I hired a wonderful consultant of, I don't even know how long ago now, Sarah Levinger. Amazing. I'm sure you know Sarah.
Yes.
When it comes to creative psychology, right? And it's really the psychology of why people buy. And I've often thought that it is a bit of a black box. It's like, yeah, I guess we're just going to try this thing. Actually, there's a methodology. And so the reason why I was talking about hacking different methodologies is like, we don't use Sarah's entire methodology. I looked at it and I was like, okay, I don't think we need this to be successful. I don't think we need this to be successful. Let's take this, this, and this and plug it in with our system. So essentially what we've created, we call it the Travers method because it's one of my employees whose last name is Travers. We laughed about it about the first 10 times that we said it, and now we all say it with a straight face. So now it's a thing. And so we created this. Yeah, so we created this methodology, and really it's a lot of this is to do with Sarah's core message. And again, I'm sure Sarah got this from other people too. So, and she didn't call it the Levinger method. So, let's just go from there. We've named it now. And so basically what this methodology does is it walks through how to actually identify in a brand the emotional triggers that people want to see, right? Or sorry, not that people want to see, that people are going to react to and take action, right? What are those things? Why did somebody buy this pair of baby leggings? I'll talk about baby leggings all day because I think that's a really good example. And so there's these 9 emotions, right? These core emotions that people will glom onto. And so one of them is nurturance. And unfortunately, I don't have the 9 of them in my head right now, but the one that I can think of often is nurturance. And so what we do is we actually take all of the reviews, we take the top, 100, however many we can fit into ChatGPT, and we try to divine out what these different emotional triggers are. So we have this massively long prompt that goes in and digs through these reviews and tries to figure out, well, what is triggering people here? And then we go off of that. And so we look to a bunch of different places. We look to Pinterest. We look to Google Trends. There's just like a bunch of different websites that we use. It's all part of the kind of process. And then from there, we figure out, we use Pinterest a lot of times to see what are people posting about this right now? What are the top pins? Because Pinterest is a really good place to see, what Pinterest is putting up is generally going to be right on trend or just a little bit before the trend hits. And so we'll look at that and we'll be like, so let's use baby leggings, for example, right? So we go to Pinterest and we realize that it's all cute, smiley, 6-month-old babies laying down like this with leggings on. Awesome. Okay, we have an idea now. Now what we do is we take that emotional trigger and we test it out with image ads, right? So we always start with images first. Number one, because images tend to have a much better return. Number one, what is the point of an ad, Matt?
Drive a click, drive a sale ultimately.
Yeah. Ultimately to drive a sale, but that's actually not what an ad does, right? An ad drives to the next part of the funnel, right? Well, whatever that is. Actually, and I don't love I use funnels sometimes, but really what I'm talking about is a flywheel, right? It puts it to that, whatever that next step is. And we'll get into like more funnelish type of advertising ideas that I have in a little bit. But on the creative side, really what it comes down to is this methodology of testing these different emotional hooks. And so we'll then go into the thesaurus and start to see like, okay, well, it looks like people just really want to nurture their kids, right? At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I think about myself as a dad. I'm like, yeah, like that's exactly what it is. Like there's this part of me that really wants to nurture my kids and see them grow. And I'm sure for most parents, it's like, yeah, that was me. That was part of me putting that into them. And so especially with a 6-month-old, right? You're in that phase where you just want to do everything you can. And so we'll then pick up that nurturance and we'll look at all the different types of ideas around that in the thesaurus, right? And so we'll start to get ideas and then we'll see if they match up with any reviews. And we'll also go through and look at the reviews and try and pick out some interesting words that we find people using more often. And then we'll create image ads based off of that. Always create the image ads first with that general concept and then work on copy after that, right? At the end of the day, on Meta particularly, and Pinterest as well, if you guys are doing Pinterest ads, and any sort of display advertising, it really the main thing that matters is that image, right? You could have like gobbledygook all over, and if they love that image, they're going to click and see more, right? That's what they're going to do. And if that message resonates, so then we test that out, and then we eventually move that. When we find winners, we'll then start to scale those winners on the image side, and then we'll test carousels, right? And then from carousels, we'll test, and we'll be trying to like come up with interesting ways to show the product. Maybe we'll combine a couple of those emotional hooks together in a carousel, right? Then we'll go into gift land. Then we'll send it out to our UGC creators. We have a huge stable of UGC creators that we use. But I also do want to get into, Matt, I really hope that we have time to also get into a way to get UGC on autopilot. I think that there's an incredible way that brands do not need to use agencies for. They can, but it's really a lot more manual work. And then we'll actually create videos from there as well. But I have to say, for the most part, it is the image creative that's pushing most of it. So
it's not so much, because I know it's a lot of times with Sarah, I follow her as well, is the idea is you start with static and then you move into video once you have some static winners. But it sounds like you're saying video is just an option. It's not actually the main driver, that static images are actually still doing most of it. Is that right?
Do you want to know why I know that that's true?
I'm seeing one. So.
Well, it's not that. It's not the amount of ad accounts I see or anything like that. It's the fact that sorry, what's that Gen Z platform? TikTok just introduced images. Why? Because they work. Instagram's algorithm skewed massively heavy on video. Where is it now? Skewed right back into images. Right. What do I see in my feed? I actually rarely see reels in my feed anymore. What I see a lot in my feed on Instagram, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys, this is very embarrassing. Dad jokes. Just constantly dad jokes.
Right. Static images. Yeah. In fact, we're talking static images of tweets, of like requotes, reposts. I see that stuff constantly. That's my feed as well, because it's what I actually end up reading and like interact with. I think is funny or interesting. So, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. And so if you think about the way that things are going right now, Matt, it's like Well, actually, maybe some of those are good ideas, right? So we have this stable of like, I don't even know how many different image creative ideas that we have. We'll always try video, like we really will. Especially UGC is a little bit different, right? UGC, and then we also have CGC, which is customer generated content, which I think there is there is a differentiation between those two. One is like a paid actor who kind of knows what they're doing and is putting that out there. Customer generated content is like, it's UGC, but it's really special stuff. And we're finding CGC working a lot better. And I can get into how we actually gather that stuff.
Jordan, when you're talking about the content framework, because I know that you're a big framework guy, big process guy, because you're regularly sharing those on LinkedIn and Twitter. Like, do you have a framework that you could share with everybody related to that content process that you just outlined?
Yes, absolutely, Matt. I would love to share that with people. Again, I mean, you know me from online. I will share everything and anything. And the reason being, and this is not meant to, this is meant to encourage, because if you guys are listening to this podcast, you're probably wanting to do things, right? You're probably wanting to listen to Matt to actually do things. The vast majority of people will listen, they'll take something and they will not do anything with it. And that's why agencies exist. Really, at the end of the day, that's why agencies exist, because it's really great to have ideas and frameworks and all of that. But if you cannot execute on those, none of it matters. It just doesn't matter. So
we'll drop a link to
absolutely.
that. We'll drop a link to that in the show notes. It'll be included in the newsletter as well. So awesome. Okay, well, yeah, I was wanting to get into offers, but maybe we can actually go into that third. Let's talk UGC, because you mentioned about a great way to find more content creators for everybody. I know UGC, influencer, affiliate. I mean, I know that all like becomes often synonymous, but it sounds like you were talking specifically about people that can make content for you. So I'd love to hear more about your process and methodology for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I haven't talked about on podcasts a ton, and I'm really excited about this. So here's the idea, Matt. And here's the problem that I was seeing is there's this great app out there called Archive. I've loved Archive for years. And like every good SaaS product, they just kept raising their prices. And it was basically the same thing. I'd see their ads and I'd see like, oh, they have like all these AI filters and stuff, but it was never in my account. And I was like, what is going on? So I reached out to them and was just trying to figure it out. But essentially what Archive did is it pulled in anything you were tagged in. And they called it the sort of like, this is how you can distill all your UGC. The problem is you needed a full-time person if you get tagged in a lot of stuff. Like we get tagged in, I Keep Nature Wild, guys. We get tagged in like, I don't know, 1,000 posts a day or something, because the problem is because some people use hashtag Keep Nature Wild for just like nature photos.
For anything they want, right.
So we get tagged in all of the stuff to do with hashtags. And it's just like literally a full-time job going through and trying to find maybe one piece of content that we would use in organic or maybe for ads. And so I was like, man, there's got to be a better way. So I was searching around and I bumped into this guy, Atif, and he's building this incredible platform called Refunnel. First of all, Atif, if you ever listen to this, and well, I mean, him and I are really well connected, and I've told him this multiple times, not a good name. Refunnel, come on, it's like the most generic name. Like we can do better. We can do better than Refunnel. But anyway, Refunnel it is. And the idea with Refunnel is it does all of the functions of Archive, but that's a secondary. He had to build that because of the actual use case. So the use case of it is that you actually can send out a landing page to your customers after they purchase, right? You can send them this link to this landing page to create customer generated content. The cool thing about it is that you can actually you can give them an entire creative brief to go off of, and you only pay for that content. So they automatically opt into you using the content if you pay for it. And so you'll put a bounty on it. So you'll put like, say, $50 store credit or a $30 Amazon gift card. And that's what they get if we decide to use theirs. You can do 100, whatever you want, whatever's going to incentivize people to do that. And so you'll, it's incredible what you end up getting out of that, right? When you send that to your customers. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about it is that you don't have to send any product to your customers. So think about that. Like you can afford so much more because you're not sending it out to UGC creators. These are people who actually love your product. They'll make, like we have, I don't know, maybe 100 submissions right now for one of our contests. It's absolutely incredible. It's actually funny. This morning I had this light bulb moment at the agency because again, I understand brand owners are busy, right? And so I had this light bulb moment of being like, we're doing this for the brands that we work with on the full service agency side, I'm like, we should just offer this as a service, like actually helping them run these customer generated content funnels, right? To actually get these things in, because there is a lot of work of having to dig through and be like, do I want to pay for this one? I don't know. And then going and implementing it into ads. That's really what it comes down to at the end of the day is, especially for millennial brands, this is what I have found is, and I know I just said ads, but for millennial brands, here's what I found. And I'm saying this as a, I'm turning 38 in 13 days. And so I'm right in the middle of millennialism. We don't get TikTok. We just don't get it. If you do, awesome. That's great. You are not the majority, right? Millennials love beautiful, clean images, right? White backgrounds. We love that kind of stuff. That's why Instagram, was what it was and helped a lot of these brands grow up. If you ever go and look at Little and Lively, like that is just the perfect Instagram brand. We don't get TikTok. And so all of this, like, and maybe I'll actually get into more of this if we have time after, Matt, but like all of this really is this new reverse funnel that starts with TikTok, right? And it starts with TikTok-ish type creators because they get it. You can take content that works on TikTok and use it all day on Meta, but you cannot do the opposite. It will not work. It just will not work. If you're building content for Instagram and you think, I'll just go and post that over on TikTok, it's not going to work. It's better than nothing. Absolutely. It's better than nothing, but you're not going viral. I hate to tell you, you're not going viral doing it that way. And so what we use Refunnel for.
I was going to say, Refunnel, is it refunnel.com.io? What is how do people find that tool if it's?
Search Refunnel UGC and you will find it.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be the first one that comes up.
I'll put a link into the show notes for anybody who's listening.
Yeah, honestly, I have to Google it every time. It's not, I don't think it's a .com. So.
But it's the idea is you're sending a link, you're sending a creative brief and an option for anyone that's interested in making $30 or $50 or depending on whatever the offer is. They can create content for your brand. And the types of people that are responding to that are people who are already interested or have some kind of, and I think a younger generation is much more comfortable just making something on the fly with their phone, fun, interesting, whatever that is. And that's what does really well on TikTok is the feeling or idea of original, raw, very genuine and authentic. That is really, really cool. Sorry, I cut you off. Was there more you wanted to add on that? Because that's pretty phenomenal so far.
No, guys, I've run a podcast for years, Secrets to Scaling Your E-Commerce Brand, and I am the biggest cutter offer in the world. I'm like, stop. That's a great point. Stop right there. I feel like Tim Robinson sometimes where I'm just like, I need to say something. This is what is working. So... So I think in the end, maybe Matt, do you mind if I talk about a new type of funnel that I'm seeing that's kind of like flipped on its head? So I actually built this out, and again, I said yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, it really clicked in my head of how this is actually going to work. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to share this with anyone. I don't want anyone to know that this is the new move. And then of course I just shared it like immediately on every single call I was on. I even shared my ChatGPT screen that built out a flowchart for me of like what it actually looks like, because I'm just so excited about it. And I know that people aren't going to do it. They don't have the time. So anyway, hopefully you guys do have the time to use this idea. So here's what I'm picturing is the new way of doing things. It all starts up at TikTok shops. Now, the reason why it starts at TikTok shops is because so one of my biggest predictions for this year, and I think I made the same prediction for last year, is influencer seeding is massive, right? Paying for influencers is not working. It is not ROI positive. It's just not. Like, I don't know of any single brand. I run a big mastermind. There's not a single brand who's ever said, yeah, that was a positive engagement. And maybe it's like 1 in 100. So I think influencer seeding is an incredible way to do this. But influencer seeding is expensive, right? And you don't necessarily get a very immediate ROI. Eventually, you create a relationship with them. Awesome. It's a really long game. Well, TikTok Shops has taken all of that and basically cut that time in like a 10th, because now you have all these people. I think as of today, there's 90,000 creators on TikTok Shops. Well, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. Can you imagine like this time next year, there'll probably be 1 million creators on there, right? They only get paid on a percentage basis. There's no more pay to post, right? These people only get paid if they think that they're going to make money. Yeah, right? So first of all, you can reach out and get like so this is a new service that we're offering at Upgrowth right now, is this TikTok shop service. But I was realizing, I'm like, this is so much bigger. It's not just TikTok shops, it's everything. So now you have, and I've got this big flow chart sort of built out. You've got TikTok shops up here. Well, now you get influencer seeding to all of these different influencers, right? You're also getting sales the entire time from TikTok shops, right? So awesome. I almost don't even care about that part. Like I do have a buddy who's doing like 350 grand a month right now, just starting out on TikTok shop. So it's incredibly lucrative, but I'm not even as concerned with that as I am with all of this content now. Now we have Refunnel down here. So I guess maybe this is good. So we got Refunnel down here pulling in all of this user generated content that you're tagged in. As far as what we do at Upgrowth is every single influencer that we're working with on TikTok shops, before we agree to send them anything, we say, hey, just so you know, we're also going to want usage rights. Are you good with that before we send this out? They say yes. Perfect. We've got usage rights, and we don't send anything out unless we get the usage rights from the creators. Matt, we're getting people for brands like one of the brands that we work with is a big trampoline brand. We're getting people who get 1.5 to 2 million views per video. Work that out from a CPM standpoint.
Used.
What is that? What is 1 million views from a CPM standpoint? What is that worth? 10,000?
Yeah, a million is 1,000, right?
Yeah. So at a $10 CPM, we're looking at about $10,000 worth of media that you just got there. Plus, they're driving traffic to your store. Actual sale, like, so it all starts there, and then Refunnel takes it all, right? And then I also love the guys over at Social Snowball. So now we take some of those bigger influencers and we now come up with affiliate deals for our direct to consumer store, because a lot of them also want to send traffic to D2C stores. So now they've got the affiliate over there. So there's no leakage either way, right? So now they're either going to send to TikTok shops or to our store. And now we get down to the red ocean in the agency world. If you have any agency people, like paid ads guys, biggest red ocean ever, right? Like it's just a commodity. Right? Media buying is a commodity. And so, but it's a must. Like as an agency, it's like you have to be a good media buyers. Now we take all of that and start running those as ads, right? So we already know on TikTok shops, wow, that one post gave us like $40,000. I'll bet you that would work in an ad, right? It's a complete reverse funnel. So this is what I realized yesterday. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the new way.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Yeah, so I mean that is turning it on its head a little bit. I mean, the idea being you used to try all these different things to try to see what potentially might go viral, so that you could then make more content off of that, put in the paid ads. You're actually able to test or create a content creation flywheel that does drive sales and that does create UGC for you that you can then use at the other part of your funnel. Yeah, that's pretty brilliant. I mean, honestly, I'm sitting there thinking, when am I going to start my own brand and get into TikTok shop? But
yeah, totally.
That's really cool. Okay, So Jordan, you yourself work with a lot of subscription brands, supplement brands using Upgrowth Commerce. I'd love to talk through some general ideas or specific offers and things that you're seeing in those brands that are effective from an acquisition standpoint. From the offer side, bundles, specials, whatever you're seeing that's working or interesting.
Yeah, so I'm going to get my old internet marketer hat on here and talk about this one, because I'm frankly, I've been a little bit embarrassed sharing this one, but I was like, I just want to see if it works. So this was a funnel. I remember getting into one of these funnels for the first time when I was like, I don't even think we lived at this house. So it must have been more than 10 years ago. And it was the supplement funnel. And I forget what the supplement was promising me, but it was probably bigger muscles or something like that. And I remember not paying anything, just the shipping. And I was like, oh, this is phenomenal. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love these supplements. And then a month later, they showed up again. And my credit card was charged. And then the month after that, they showed up again and my credit card was charged. And I was like, well, I still like these. So, well, did they do anything? Like, let's take a look, not really. So, but the point is, I still like the product and they got me with this free plus shipping offer. And so I remember years ago, I was like, I will never run one of those. That is just like totally against what I believe in. But the more I thought about it, I'm like, it's actually brilliant. It's sampling. Costco has done this for years.
Yep.
You just sample your product. If you believe in your product, sample it. And this is the best way to sample your product. Now, so we've been doing this with a few different brands, seeing just phenomenal results. We're actually running this not as a subscription play, just as a regular baby leggings play at Little and Lively. We're charging $9.99 for shipping. Well, that actually covers our shipping and our product cost. And right now, our CPAs, our new customer CPAs, went from 60-ish down to 5. So are there going to be people that aren't going to order? Absolutely, they're not going to order again. Tons of these people aren't going to order again. But I already know that it's ROI positive. Like,
well, I mean, I have a friend running an acquisition for a pet food brand, a dog supplement food brand, and they're seeing a lot of optionists, which is they're basically testing like something similar where if you opt into the subscription, they'll give you the first and pay for shipping. They give you the first item free. So you're getting $30, $40,
exactly.
Something that would normally cost $30, $40. You're paying $5 to $10 for shipping, and now you're opting into a subscription. So I really like the idea. Yeah, I mean, again, you're getting people to try something. I think it works really well. It doesn't work as well for clubs or if you have a really, really big product because the shipping could be more expensive. But if you're talking about something you can either put into sample packs and try this, or a full size that's not too expensive to ship that way, it's a brilliant way to acquire people.
Totally. That's exactly right? Like this isn't going to work for every single brand. Right. Matt, do we have time for me to even pull back the curtain even more on what's working with that? Okay.
Yeah,
so let's take it to the next level now on this free plus shipping offer. Now, so years ago, I need to preface this. So years ago, a huge thing in the space was ManyChat. And ManyChat was this software product that essentially gathered Facebook Messenger subscribers. This is before Instagram opened up their messaging API. And it was incredible. At Little and Lively, I had about 40,000 of these subscribers, and we could message them anytime for free. It was just like the most phenomenal thing.
I worked on about 4 or 5 years ago, and the open rates was like 90%. It was insane.
And virtually no cost to send it out. Yeah. Well, I got to say, everyone, ManyChat is back and better than ever because it now taps into the Instagram API. So I don't know I'm sure people out there have seen these ads. They're very good at targeting D2C people, but it's grow.ai. And I remember seeing like, it's like, oh, you want $7,500 extra a day and whatever. And I looked into it. And I was like, what exactly are they doing? I was like, they're using ManyChat. That's all that they're doing. They've just built ManyChat funnels for Instagram. So I dug deeper into it. And again, they can do this because people don't want to do it. Like that's why agencies exist, is because we need somebody to actually do this stuff.
Do the work.
And so now think about this funnel. You have one single image instead of sending to a landing page, right? So let's just do the free leggings one. So free leggings, you just pay the shipping. We're very clear. We call it like an ethical bribe. We're like, we know that if you get these leggings on your kids, this is the only pair of leggings that they're going to want to wear. And so we know that we want to give the first one to you for free.
I really like cleaning it up.
Yeah. So then what we do though is instead of sending them to a landing page, we get them to comment leggings. Do you want this offer? Comment leggings on Instagram. Well, now ManyChat comes in with a comment to message function, right? And now they enter this flow. And so the flow starts with, hey, thanks so much for commenting. Before I give you the code, I just need to ask for a little bit of information. Number 1, join our Instagram DM list. Well, our Instagram DM list is growing massively right now because of this, right? So again, massive open rates within Instagram DMs. It shows up in their primary inbox. Then next we ask for, awesome, now what's your email? Next, what's your phone number? Awesome. Before we give that to you, here's a link to download our app. Awesome. Now we have them on literally every single channel. I don't even care if they don't take the free shipping offer. I just got a subscriber in every single one of those channels. Yeah. Now I'm going to show them the offer, right? Oh, sorry. It gets even better. So we're testing that funnel, but we're also testing a funnel that says baby models wanted. Then we get them. So the baby models wanted, we're using the same offer, but now we're moving them into our affiliate program.
Right.
On that side.
Right.
And then Refunnel is picking all of this content up because now they're affiliates who want to use their codes. And
Right.
through Social Snowball, we're making every single one of those into affiliates.
Right.
So it's this virtuous cycle of now having them everywhere without them ever even going to your website.
Love it.
Right?
That's insane.
Which means you can retarget every single one of them because they've interacted with
Right.
you, and there's no
Right.
there's no pixel issues.
Right. It's all happening on platform. That is one of the beauty of being able to use that and understand that. And that's interesting. I didn't know they had built out that obviously a lot of that's related to integrations and what you can push or what actions you can trigger. But that's one of the things I always liked about the ManyChat team is they would roll stuff out so fast. They were really, really quick.
Oh yeah. They're incredible.
Yeah. That is so cool. So being able to create an on-platform experience, whatever offer you're testing. So I would say anybody who's thinking about this, yes, the free product with shipping offer is certainly one to test, but thinking about testing any kind of offer where you're trying to get somebody to opt into potentially a starter kit or something else. Remember, the whole thing with subscriptions is all about engagement. We want to try to gather as much information as we can. That's why we push to be using quizzes and post-purchase surveys and all these things. But you can, even before somebody hits your website, start asking questions about what they're interested in, what's not, what they're working and what's not, and getting them to opt in or take other actions for you in exchange for that offer is amazing. I really like that idea.
Yeah,
and now I'm
obsessed with it right now.
I'm gonna have to clip up this episode a little bit more than
yeah,
or go back through it again and do. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a newsletter issue, man. I'm gonna have to distill a lot of this down. Jordan, you have been amazing. I'll more than what I was hoping you'd deliver. I would love to, anybody who's interested in connecting to you, I will give my wholehearted endorsement. You should certainly follow Jordan on LinkedIn and Twitter. Check out his podcast. If you have any questions, I know he's very approachable. He's willing to chat, talk through any of this stuff.
Always.
I know some of these things are a little bit harder to implement than just the way we talked about on the pod, but certainly worth pursuing. Are there any other ways people can engage with you? We're going to have a link to your content creation process, and I'll put a link to Refunnel in the show notes. But anything else about connecting with you or people reaching out to chat?
No, just please don't be shy. Reach out. I absolutely love the direct consumer community, the brand community, all of that kind of stuff. And just remember, guys, like if you feel like I feel like such a loser, I feel like I'm struggling. We all do. We all do. On the daily, I have these ups and downs that are just like, man, if people could really see into what I'm having to deal with on a daily basis.
Right.
So yeah, I just want to put that out there that like you're not alone in your highs and lows, and also a big exit and that sort of thing isn't going to solve any of your problems. So that's the other thing.
It really won't. It really won't. Absolutely. Cool. Well, again, Jordan, thank you for coming on, and that's it for this week's dose. Everyone, please stay tuned for next week for another episode of Subscription Prescription.
That's it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe so that you can get notified when new episodes come out each week on Tuesdays.